Good evening, and welcome to the St. Petersburg by Night podcasting network. Tonight, we present to you our Werewolf the Apocalypse Chronicle, Rage Across Tampa.
Welcome to another St. Pete by Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, calling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing Gaia of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the warm forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take a final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Don't you never hide.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network. My name is Kent, also known as Kent on all social media. I am the lead storyteller of St. Petersburg by Night, which is a World of Darkness 5th edition chronicle set in the city of St. Petersburg, Florida. Not St. Petersburg, Russia, because, let's be honest, we don't want anything to do with any of that right now, because if you're watching this program and you've been watching this program, you probably have a pretty good idea where our leanings lie over here on St. Pete by Night, and they are not going that direction, and I think you know what I mean. Anyway, it is a World of Darkness chronicle set in the 5th edition system, including Vampire the Masquerade, including Hunter the Reckoning, and including Werewolf the Apocalypse, because it's Tuesday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Rage Across Tampa, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle, set in the city of Tampa, Florida, just across the bay from the city of St. Petersburg, where a pack of Garou have fought back against the Tampa Camarilla, have established a sept and a cairn, and are seeking to build up that sept, are seeking to re-establish the Garou nation within Florida, and are trying to bring some stability in the fight to save Gaia and to beat back the forces of the worm. However, it seems that they've encountered a new threat that's growing, and I mean that literally, within the region of Tampa. After last week, while trying to appease the spirits in cleaning up the area around Tampa, Aspen and Jester made a very, very strange discovery as they found some plants that seemed to be a little bit more than meets the eye, pun intended. And now, with those discoveries, they have to bring back what they've found to the rest of their burgeoning sept to discuss and to discover what threat looms on the horizon in Tampa. Meanwhile, Lucas has some battles of his own to fight as he is trying to establish an underground movement within Tampa to try and find some control, to wrestle some more of that control away from the leeches of Tampa, while also just trying to find a path of his very own to establish his own identity, as much has changed for Lucas ever since he's arrived in Tampa. He's lost friends. He's gained friends. He has finally established a relationship with a patron he's never known. Much is changing. But what will he discover? What path will he take? Will it lead him to New York and a life in the mafia? Or will it take him down a different road? And then there's the newcomer known as Dreams-In-Decay, who's found his way all the way south from Columbus, Ohio. A follower of Rat, a member of the Bone Gnars, who is trying to establish himself within this sept. Not just an outsider because of his tribe, now an outsider in this sept. He is a spirit speaker, a theurge, something that has been much needed in this area, because as much assistance as Eliza Ross, the Stargazer, has been, she is not nation. And if this sept is going to be considered a part of the Garou nation, they need a recognized theurge of the nation. Will Dreams-In-Decay, known to his friends as Jace, or known to Aspen as Jason, could he be that theurge to the sept? If you like what you've heard so far and you're new to this stream, why don't you go follow St. Pete by Night on all of that social media you see listed down below. Or if you want to join our amazing community, you should go join us at that Discord link you see there. We have a lot of community activities you could be a part of, including watch-alongs, including all kinds of video game playing opportunities, and a book club where you could read some of the interesting works that are suggested by members of our community. It is a great group of individuals that talk about more than just the world of darkness. There are a variety of subjects that we talk about, and it's just a nice group of people that you could join in with. So come join our community, and who knows, maybe you yourself will take some steps into the world of darkness before long. So come join us. Now, of course, I couldn't tell this amazing story alone. It would take some pretty spectacular and traumatized players to make that happen. So let's go ahead and introduce those incredible players now. Players, why don't you say hello to the nice viewers at home?
Hi, everybody. I'm Champ, Champagne, Billy Bob Broccoli, Charles Entertainment Cheese, whatever you want to call me, and I will be playing Aspen Weiss / Oathbreaker, Philodox of the Silverfags.
Hi everybody, I am Noree, and I will be playing Malicious Jester, the Galliard of the Black Furies.
Hi everybody, I'm Walks, and I will be playing Lucas Shaw, the Ragabash of the Shadow Lords.
Hey viewers at home, my name's Preston. I play Jason Dreams-In-Decay, Thorne, Theurge of the Bone Gnars.
Champ, I'm going to give that introduction a cold, reheated, many times over pizza of a rating. So, it is not even hours after we left Aspen and Jester. Aspen, you immediately called a meeting of the pack at the cairn, having made the discovery of these twisted vines that you found at the park crawling up the side of the tree. These strange purple leaves growing off of the vines with what appeared to be irises on the sides of the leaves themselves that appeared to blink when plucked or pulled from the side of the tree. You knew this required further investigation. So you gathered together the rest of the pack, calling them together to meet at the cairn that is buried deep, deep within the woods of Hillsborough State Park, remote and hidden as any cairn has ever been in this region of Florida. So that's where our scene begins, as everyone comes together late into the afternoon at the behest of their sept leader. When everyone arrives, Eliza is already waiting. Jester, Charles comes to meet you at the location as Aspen drove you. And the scene is yours.
Well, I'm sure you're wondering why we had such an impromptu meeting today. It's been Jester and I have come to discover something unusual, and we kind of needed expertise of spirits and potential weird plants. Looks over to Jester.
Jester will pull out the bag from one little box that they got, and then stare at it for a moment.
What kind of plant?
A blinking plant, an eye, a looking plant, whatever you want to call it. It had eyes.
It had. Are you just roundabout telling me it's an iris? Are you saying it had eyes?
I'm
No,
saying
little cat's eyes that followed you when you. It was a climbing plant. It was clinging to a tree. There were actual thorns hooked into the tree. Purple flowers. I'm looking in the bag at this point now, Kent.
As you open the bag to better describe the plant that you witnessed, inside the bag itself is just shriveled, withered, decayed, almost ashen flakes, as if it is all shrunk and crinkled up and broken apart into almost dust or ash.
It had these vines, and it's what the fuck? And
blink?
now it's dust.
When did you pick it?
An hour ago.
Can I see that?
I'll hand him the bag. Purple flowers had little cat's eye irises on them. Vines, thorns. And whenever she plucked one of the blossoms, and when I pulled the plant from the tree, the irises followed us, like they were watching us.
Take a look in the bag. Is there anything I can glean?
Give me a wits and investigation.
Could I do wits and science with my botany specialty?
I'm going to say investigation just because you're trying to see if there's anything even to get any information from, if there's any pieces left to study to get some science knowledge from. If you can find a piece that you can even look at, then I'll give you your science roll. But this is so broken apart at this point that there's not even anything to gain any information from that you can tell just from a cursory glance at the moment.
4 successes on that.
Okay, 4 successes. So as you kind of shuffle the bag around and start to reach in, pushing aside some of the ash and the broken, deteriorated pieces, you manage to fish out one petal of this flowering plant. And as you pull it out, you can see that it itself is still withering away in your touch. It seems like in just a few moments it's going to be gone, but it does give you the opportunity to make a quick science botany roll.
While he has it out, am I able to? Do I have a line of sight with what it is?
Sure.
Would I be able to do sight from beyond with it? Be able to see past, like possibly how it got planted or where it was growing and how it was working in that area that they found it?
Yeah, why not?
There'll be one will. There'll be my intelligence and wisdom.
Okay.
3 successes on the botany roll.
3 successes on the botany roll. You have seen flowers with this coloration, this color before, but in the shape of the petal, the shape doesn't quite match up. So it's not taking the formation, and the feel of the petal between your fingers doesn't quite match anything in the index of plants you can go over in your mind. Plus, it's a little bit discolored. Now, that could be from the rapid rate of decay that's happening, but this rate of decay is also unlike anything you've ever seen. No plants are going to die this quickly and decay this quickly. You know, it would take at least several hours to deteriorate. At least a day for most plants to get to this rate of decay, to the point that it's become so brittle it's breaking apart into an almost ashen state. Jace, what did you get on your roll?
4 successes.
Focusing on the petal as you watch it break apart into the ash, falling away. You try to follow the threads back, watching the ash that's falling from the petal reconnect, as if like it's a tape rewinding. Watching the ash reconnect to the petal itself, reforming and reshaping it. It starts to pick up speed very quickly, to the point that it's almost blindingly fast. For a moment, a brief flash, you see the plant that Jester's talking about. You see her plucking it from the tree, pulling this vine away from the tree. You can see the petals, you can see the irises staring almost as if they're staring directly at you. Then you see them sinking back off of the tree, growing back into the ground. And then you see the gestation of them in the ground in reverse, before they are almost immediately uprooted from the ground in one swift motion. And they take the form of a root, or like a vine with little thorns. Less a seed, more just this tiny root with similar colored vine, or similar colored thorns that were sticking into the tree, but smaller, much smaller. And you see them, you feel them in very soft and delicate hands. Time once again speeds up. And you feel a tearing, as if You're being ripped in two. As if the opposite direction of two things being pressed together are now being torn apart. This is where the path ends for you. Because what you were focused on is no longer what it is.
How many of these plants did you guys see?
Just this one.
This, if you see something like this again, first off, let me see both of your hands. Do their hands look normal? No discoloration, no redness, no signs of like rash? Okay, don't pick any of these things with your bare hands. Plants have pollen, spores. Contact is dangerous with them. We don't know what this is. This very obviously shouldn't exist. It's not any genus of flower that I could even remotely place. I mean, the term genetic engineering here is out the window. This is edited. This is not right on a lot of different levels.
Anything you saw at Piney Point?
Not that I recall, but there would be no surprise to me if this came from that facility. This is right up the alley of what that place felt like. From what I saw, it was a lot of normal stuff there, but if you're going to make something like this, you got to start somewhere.
This plant, I can tell you that it didn't grow there organically. Someone with very soft hands placed it there. Someone very delicate. But it also came from a source of somewhere. It was ripped from it. So whatever this is just the start.
So if I run across these again, can I call one of you? Because obviously taking it to you to show you didn't work out great.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, just it has what you said it has on it. It has eyes that are blinking and looking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why a plant would need eyes, but I could theorize that something else is using those eyes. That's what we should be concerned about.
Those eyes aren't just for show. They definitely do see. I saw both Jester and Aspen as clear as I see you.
The biggest problem is that somebody's planting them around. Making
Where?
it. We were. Yeah, go ahead, Jester.
Trying to remember which park we were at. So this one was at one of the state parks. I can actually check some forums and see if anybody else has seen them pop up and where, and keep track of them if they're in other places, but I don't think this is going to be the only one.
I got some friends. They're guerrilla seeders. So areas like that, nicely manicured neighborhoods, perfect, empty, boring lawns. They roam around and spread pollinators and local wildflowers all over the place to let them grow and to cause problems. I'll get in touch with them and see if they've seen anything weird because they do move around a lot and plant things. So someone might have seen that, but I don't want to get them involved in anything rough.
And the name of the park was Hillsborough River State Park.
Okay. I didn't know if we went to Hillsborough or a different one. So this was Hillsborough. This wasn't just a manicured park.
It's a few minutes from downtown. It's still pretty nice.
Okay.
You think anybody you could get on it just to observe if they see anything strange? Definitely not to touch it, but if they see anything strange, they can let you know, or
These aren't. These are just kids. They're just kids. And they're not spies. They're not. Yeah, I mean, I'll ask them. I'll see what they know, but I'm not going to ask them to do something dangerous.
no, I'm not asking them to get involved, just if they see anything strange. I
Yeah.
think knowing what we're up against, how many are being planted, if it's a strong enough presence that other people like your cedars have seen or could see, then we know that this is bigger than just one plant, which to assume that would be ridiculous. But we need to know kind of what we're looking at as far as growth and as far as presence within the area.
Yeah, I'll talk to them. It's fine. I'll handle it.
On that note, with Piney Point, Jester and I were talking about, you had said about possible connections to other things, to Bateman, possibly.
Mhm.
Jester had found a report, I believe, from the last sept.
Yeah. Hold on. Oh, dig it out of my bag. So this was, keep in mind this was 10 years ago. But there was definitely a connection between Piney Point, Indron, and Ballard, Anderson, and Bateman. A lot, actually, with what happened to the last sept, this was all connected to it. This is from one of the pack leaders, the leader of the Lettuce Lake Cairn, named Holly. So Piney Point's been confirmed as the cairn of the Black Spiral Dancers responsible for attacking the Sept. Their influence runs deep, but their alliance with the leeches has strengthened their hold on the area. The leeches operating through Ballard, Anderson, and Bateman have provided legal and financial cover for Indron's activities while using the firm's reach to manipulate property acquisitions, research permits, and city planning initiatives that support the BSD's growing power. Bateman, as you already know, is one of the leashes orchestrating these efforts, ensuring that both facilities remain protected from scrutiny. It goes on to mention one of the pack members' visions. I guess he had visions. Funny note, he's actually one of the Cult of Fenris members we met, Ethan. So, but Piney Point does not appear industrial complex in the Umbra, but as a living, festering wound, a volcanic structure that dominates the landscape, spewing balefire into flowing channels that run directly into the Gulf, tainting the water with expanding black aura. The corruption spreads outward, infecting both land and sea. And then at the base of the volcano, there were carrion crows. And then it looks like in the distance, a second spire of steel and concrete looms covered in thick weaver webs that stretch out like veins. And then when the lava erupts, the structure pulses with energy, responding with each explosion like an echo. So whatever force is anchoring the corruption is linked to a secondary site, reinforcing the belief the Cairn is not an isolated problem, but a larger, more complex network. They talked about the resistance along the perimeter. There were a lot of spirits, I think. I've highlighted several words in here that I'm not sure about, like let's see, it talks about carrion ravens, and then there were a few others. Then it talks about the wormhole. It's fully active and is pulsing energy, distorting the space around it. Hooked appendages anchor into the umbra, making it not just a wound in the gauntlet, but a growing infection that feeds the area's corruption. It's not a passive rupture, but a functioning gateway that allows Banes to pass through the physical world. Unlike the worm-tainted areas and that merely exude corruption, the site is deliberate conduit, continuously expanding each surge of energy that erupts from the core. And yeah, there we go. Here are the Banes. Some skitterlings, some scrags, and some scryers, what she mentioned. But then it goes on to say the connection between the Black Spiral Dancers and leeches is evident, and how Endron and Ballard Anderson and Bateman maneuvered to protect the site. Ballard Anderson and Bateman's legal efforts have allowed Endron to secure properties throughout the area under the guise of resource acquisition and research development, while Endron's involvement in high-profile charities and sponsorships has diverted the attention away from their true operations. The firm's acquisitions of properties coincides with the critical expansions near the worm-tainted sites, reinforcing that they're not just protecting Piney Point, but working to establish locations of power. And then the sudden dismissal of legal action against the facility occurring at the same time that Ballard, Anderson, and Bateman took Endron's pro bono case further suggests the coordinated cover-up that extends beyond simple corporate greed. So it looks like the original owner of Piney Point was a holding company, but it was a holding company that belonged to Endron. It filed for bankruptcy back in 2011, and it shielded them from liability from the last environmental disaster. And then they had their own legal representation, which is Myers, Feinstein, and Hartgate. But they still were Endron, and Endron went to Ballard, Anderson, and Bateman.
Jester, did they attack that place?
Yeah, they did. A few people stayed behind to protect the cairn. That was the night Mary attacked, and those few people died. But at the same time, the rest of the Sept went to Piney Point to destroy the wormhole. Half of them abandoned the mission and the Sept before they even got there. And those that remain managed to destroy the wormhole, but they sacrificed themselves.
First time I went there, I took the spirit glasses with me, and their bodies are still in the Umbra. There. Okay. But I mean, I didn't see near of what you described. So whatever they did something good.
I don't think Ryder knew exactly what happened. Other than they did manage to destroy it, but nobody came back.
You said this was the first time you went, was with the glasses. And you'd gone since then. Does it look like they were developing even more the second time around, or how many times around you went?
I went 2 times. So the first time I went was when I saw that, scouting the area out and checking it out. It was empty, save for running into a woman that I encountered. And then the second time when I went back just to see what she was up to, it was significantly more security and developed. And that's when she approached me and gave me a tour of the greenhouses. She didn't make me any offers. She didn't try to recruit or anything. It just seemed like she wanted to show me what she was doing. It was unnerving, to say the least. She was unnerving. She knew her shit, though. She really did. And she knew who I was. She knew who I was the first time I met her. So, none of that is good news.
And she didn't make any mentions to the rest of us or locations or anything of that nature.
No, I mean, she was as specific as I would be in that scenario. But she did mention your friends. So I'm not entirely sure the extent of her knowledge on the rest of you, but she had me down to my last name. So one could say it's probably extensive. I mean, if we're dealing with who we think we're dealing with here, that is well within their financial and infrastructure capabilities.
Indron?
They
Maybe.
previously had connections, Charles says, to Ballard, Anderson, and Bateman. One can assume they had pretty solid files on at least Miss Weiss and Jester. Possibly Eliza as well. It stands to reason that these individuals likely have access to those files as well.
Right, I think it's quite safe to assume that they know, well, potentially, if they have enough to know us and our movements, then maybe they even know Jason's here. Who knows? I think it's bold to and safe to say that we all move a lot more carefully.
Yeah. We need people to help us who they don't know about. We need people they're not paying attention to. We need something different than we have had before. So I think I can work on that. If I could get you something, Aspen, do you think you could take him down?
There's always an opportunity. There's always a possibility. Absolutely.
So I mean, we could cut the head off this snake, but another one's going to come back.
We do have Pelfrey as well, and she's got her own knowledge that she can bring to the table. So there is potential there. It's just we really, it comes down to information gathering. What are we looking at? How far have they gotten? Why are they wanting to taunt you with what they have instead of keeping their stuff secret? Are they playing cocky, or are there other nefarious goals in mind? I think we need to find all of those things out to really get a heads up on what's happening there.
Her interest in me could have been my previous association. That's where I used to take him to go eat. So that made her, probably drew her to me and made me very visible to her. But now that that's gone, that may be problematic for her.
Given that this was a Black Spiral dancer cairn, and you have had a history with them and your friend, do you think she could have been connected to them in any way.
Her smell was not us. It wasn't leech because it was the middle of the day. And it wasn't anything that I have ever smelled before. And I can suss something out pretty quick. It was something different, something new. So if she would have been like us, I would have smelled that.
Okay.
Whatever she is, I've never encountered it before.
I'm just trying to see if that was a possible motive for her approaching you.
Like I said, she didn't make any moves to recruit, but that doesn't mean that wasn't the first steps in that process.
You said you were there one time with glasses.
Mhm.
Did you look at her while with those on?
The first time I was there with the glasses, I did not look at her with it. The second time I went back, I didn't have a chance to put on glasses before she cornered me, I guess is a good word for it. First time I went through, I picked the lock on the gates and went right through the gates. The second time, they had security and personnel, so I hopped over the walls,
As you do.
as I do. And I didn't make it more than 10 feet before a Jeep came down on me, and she was the only one driving it.
Did you have the glasses the second time?
I didn't.
Look at the thing again. They may have had, if it's anything connected to like it was, they may have had Umbral Scouts, because they did last time. That might be how you picked up if you hopped the fence. Or cameras, I don't know.
Column A, column B, probably both. Yeah.
How willing are you to go look again?
She'll probably know I'm there. I think that interaction might be a little bit different this time, considering how much progress they've made. And I'm not bringing a friend along. But a reach out might not be a terrible idea. We did make promises to each other that we would not hurt each other there. I don't know exactly how far that extends, but we made promises.
Well, it's going to start getting a lot worse here if they start bringing in black spirals and building a cairn there. So it's definitely a top priority at this point. And it seems all of our issues are a bit connected in some way.
Tangled.
If Bateman was connected to them once, I'm sure he's connected to them now. And he's still around, so easiest way to reestablish yourself in the area and get a leg up, as we've been trying to make sure they don't. So,
I mean, he hasn't not been connected to Indron. The first time Ballard Anderson and Bateman even approached me, they were trying to bribe me to lay off of Indron.
right. So, again, it's all connected. And now we have all of these problems with new recruits coming in.
Yeah.
Which could be a blessing, but they've got to be willing to learn very quickly.
Oh,
They will.
they're in for one.
And on that note, I really think we should start thinking about how the sept is going to work with the new pack within it.
Yeah, that's important.
I think it's about time we start delegating those titles now, so they know exactly who they need to look at when things go interesting, I guess is the nicest word I could say. I mean, I figured we could even start with you, Lucas, because when you first showed up, you had a particular interest in Master of Challenges.
A position typically held by a Philodox, but who better to suss out cheating than a cheater?
Especially with your knowledge of claves that I don't have. I think you'd actually do really well at that job.
I would be glad to take it. Smart move.
You've got a lot of titles and not a lot of people, so there might be sharing or several to one person. So with that in mind, how would you like being keeper of the land as well, or sharing that with Jason?
Jace, what do you think?
Not a job I've ever done before, but happy to help.
I think together, you taking care of the land, Lucas, because you've already started doing that, plus having Jason to give advice on the spiritual health within the cairn to make sure it's all on the up and up, might be beneficial working together.
No, that's smart.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not going to stop what I'm doing. So, might as well get paid for it.
If you paid,
You're not getting paid?
we usually don't, but that's okay.
We'll work that out.
Sure. Back to the business. Jason, are you willing to have another job as well?
Do I have a say in it?
Everyone has a say. Everyone can speak their mind.
All right, what's the job?
I was thinking Caller of the Wild.
The Wild seems to like me. Sure.
You would be summoning spirits of the cairn during moots and taking point on that.
Go and put my name down.
Perfect. And there is one that could technically fit you, but I think it's much better left for someone much wiser. Eliza.
Eliza has been very quiet, especially ever since Piney Point was brought up, and even more so when the report was read. But she comes out of an aloof haze as soon as her name's mentioned. Yes.
Is there something on your mind?
Ghosts. Hearing matters of the past, still difficult, but we persist.
I understand. We were delegating sept positions for when the new recruits arrive. Are you open to Master of the Right?
I'm willing to accept this position until there is another who fits to take my place. Respectfully.
Understandably. But I do think that having you in a position for the sept and the cairn is important, especially with showing how we want to build a new way of doing things.
Of course.
Because, that's exactly how it's going to come across, right? So we need to be completely clear on that. We're giving this position to Eliza, you know I love you, a stargazer, and everybody's going to see it and know it. If that is our stance, I'm for it. But that message is a bell. It's a clarion bell.
That's my apprehension.
I think I'm going to make it very clear and be very honest that Eliza and all of us have given ourselves to this cairn and will be here long after death. So a stargazer will always, from now until always, be associated with us in our pact and our sept. So I think it would be a disservice to not give her a position within the cairn that she helped us all build.
So we're telling everybody that now.
I think I've learned my lesson when it comes to the nation. When we weren't upfront and honest with them and weren't reaching out to them, good, bad, or otherwise, that's where the disconnect started happening. And I think not telling them would be, well, a bit stupid on our part.
Welcome.
Also, I want to stand by our word of saying this is a new nation. This is something we want to build that is different.
Right?
And I think that comes with standing by our convictions.
I graciously and humbly accept.
Thank you, Eliza. Then, of course, Jester. We already kind of talked about it, but Tail Singer?
Yeah.
Master of the Howl?
Yeah, I'll take both.
Good. Perfect. And then that leaves Charles. How do you feel about Wormfoe? Revelry within the moot, giving people something lasting after to kind of strive for. Wormfoe work well for you?
Does it work well for you? Revelry?
I think Revelry shows in different ways, and I think you're strong. You are composed, but know when to show your rage for what's important.
Of course.
And lastly for you would be Warder.
That seems appropriate.
Would put you in direct coordination for all packs within the set.
Then I will double down on assuring that they will be ready.
And for me, Truthcatcher seems the most fitting, along with Sept Leader. I think both of those kind of go hand in hand anyways, so. But of course, I'm willing to help with whatever anyone else needs as far as that goes.
It all sounds good to me.
So, us, we're the council? That's it?
Do you believe that others should be a part?
Well, I mean, I haven't met any others that I would want on it, but that's not to say that when another pack comes here, if they don't have a spot on the council that makes decisions, they might take that as a slight. I'm not saying we have to immediately do it. Let's get a feel for them first. I'm not stupid. But it should be an idea that's at least pinned up on the wall and thought about later.
Right. Absolutely. And I think once they prove themselves and show that they want to be a part of this and be here and work with all of the mess that is us, then we could delegate further. There is Guardian still open and, well, there is Gatekeeper, but I'm saving that for when Artie returns.
Fair?
But until then, I think we should delegate it to the pack that has been here because we know what's actually happening and they will be brand new. And I think it's going to take some time before they get their footing. Good. I'm glad we're all on the same page. Sorry, Jester. Continue.
I was just wondering, do you know how old this pack is? Like the people in it at all? Anything?
That question would probably be best referred to our order.
I've spoken with Matthias briefly. Information has been scarce, to say the least. Contact has been limited. He has spoken with the elders from Michigan. A sept up there has been in talks. He says they have a pack they are sending to Tampa, but information was limited. As far as I know, the pack is comprised primarily of Bone Nars, a Black Fury, a Ghost Council, and a Silent Strider. This sept their makeup is primarily of the rough around the edges tribes, which I think would be quite suitable here. But little other information was given. They are to meet with Matthias here in Tampa before being introduced to yourself. We will have more information then.
Perfect. I think any help in our time of need, you could say, is greatly appreciated.
I believe it will take some time for them to adjust. The climate is quite different here, but trial by fire seems appropriate. It did wonders for all of you.
Absolutely. Jason still has his time to, well, be in the fire, but for the rest of us, yes, I agree.
You can keep the fire away. Like I can watch from afar. It's fine.
You're
It's not-
standing in it constantly.
Yeah, it's not how it works here, man.
Yeah, I saw it as I came in. Waterproof shoes and constantly standing in a bucket. It's kind of my idea.
Fair
Sure.
enough. But to that note, with the reinforcements, with titles, with all of that happening, we do have other matters that you all have been doing. Lucas, how is the bikers versus sandwich scenario?
Well, there's not a versus there, but I reached out and made contact with some former crime family ne'er-do-wells, not doing too great in the grand scheme of what happens here in Tampa. I, of course, did not allude to anything specific, only that I presented myself as a benefactor who would like to help and enter into a business deal with them. They gave some requirements of non-surprising requirements. The first is about 500K. That would be the stimulus shot that they need to get their business up and running again. They don't want to get involved in drugs, but they have thoughts on maybe some gun running, which I think I can work with that. Problem is, their reputation is in the shits. A couple years ago, another family came down here. Some daughter, niece, something of theirs and their family came down here for spring break and disappeared. I don't know what the circumstances are, but that family came down here and flexed its arms pretty hard, and they were one of the casualties in that scenario. They want to send a message, a non-connected message to that family that you don't go to other people's territory and piss in their gardens. So they weren't specific, and they didn't want anything to be specific. They just wanted a lesson delivered. So I'm going to work out how to make that happen. So with people coming, we need to have a conversation about people leaving because I may have to go to New York for a couple of weeks.
Connected. How is it a message?
You can send a message a lot of ways. Don't go into other people's territory. That's the simple message. It's in good faith. It shows that we have reach. And reach is important because reach is intimidating.
Do we have reach when it comes to all of this?
We will.
With just you?
I've been thinking about that. And just like you said, I'm going to do exactly what my pack leader and sep leader said. I'm going to work with the bikers. How long's Ryder been gone? And what are they doing? Drinking away the last of their money and fighting each other in that club all night?
Actually, no. They do several charity rides. They meet up with other chapters. They probably do their own protection rackets. They have, I think, some gun maneuvering as well. Like, they do a lot of things. They don't just drink and start fights.
Well, let's turn up the volume on that. Let's get them a bigger piece of the pie.
I think Jester's knowledge with them would be absolutely beneficial to all of that. So while you're doing that, you can have Jester, I guess, at your side to help you through making connections at the very least.
Sure. Love to have her.
We can go soon. All of us. I have to go ask them some things, and Charles and Jason should probably be introduced. They are technically, you know, willing to do stuff for us, and they probably want to know who they're willing to help.
Why?
Because it would be good that they have met you at least once. They've met me, they've met Aspen, they've met Lucas, they met Artie.
Will they be needing my assistance?
Maybe.
I see. Very well.
Good. Yeah, we can do a pack to the bikers situation. Eliza, do you want to go hang out with some bikers?
It's been quite some time since I've mixed it up with any biker types, but I suppose it wouldn't be too bad to kick some dirt off these old wheels.
Fair enough. Okay, we'll make it a whole morale thing.
I suppose.
Besides, I want to know what they've heard, street level wise, about this particular hive.
I agree. Speaking of that, how did recon on that go?
Well, Jace, you want to start on your end?
Uh, Yeah. So as far as the spiritual side of it, it's pretty gross. But on brighter news, other than the this decay that's constantly sitting there, was able to make contact with at least one of the spirits there. So they are still willing to work with us here. So kind of helped me be a little more positive about reaching out to more spirits here. But the I didn't see anything too outstanding as far as any banes or anything on this on that side. But as far as when we actually got there, I stayed on one side of the fence to make sure Lucas was fine for his own protection. And then he hopped over and he saw a few things. You want to explain all the fun things you saw while you're on the other side of the fence?
We're looking at a low tech operation here. I didn't see any security cameras. I didn't see any doorbell cameras. We're talking strings with tin cans, really low end shit, temporary stuff. Speaking of shit, the entire place reeked of it. And I mean reeked of it. I didn't go inside. Wasn't the time for that, but something disgusting is happening inside that building. But what I can tell you is in the backyard where I went in, they've been burying bodies there for a while. A while. It's got to be a mass grave back there. So this place needs to go sooner rather than later.
And the bodies, someone that I've met here, people are starting to notice that people are starting to go missing. So it does need to be taken care of in a wretchedly quick matter. And now other outside people are starting to pick up on it.
Okay. Well, Charles, Lucas, Jester, you guys all get together and get that done then.
Easy enough.
Happily.
Good.
I feel like I should say something too, so on it.
All right. On the leeches note, though, I will let the rest of everyone know that I am in talks with Jester, and I will be talking to Matthias about getting her more integrated into the area and to potentially be closer to Bateman so we can get more information that way.
Closer?
Closer, yes. Because I personally cannot. He knows who I am, and that would be putting us at a disadvantage. And also with meeting with Charles and Matthias and Jester being at a party, I think it's smart. I think it's a good idea.
Contact's already kind of been established.
Who's going to watch her back while she's doing this?
Charles.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
Matthias. They both have connections to that area.
In the social circles she'll be moving in, it would be foolish of them to make any direct moves. Anything they would try would have to be rather underhanded, and we have already been working on her self-control and discipline. The biggest mistake would likely come on her end if she were to lose that control.
I'm fine.
I know.
Well, like I said, Charles would be there or Matthias. They will be running through the same social circles, and Jester has a cover for that and wants to be involved. So I think that's a great idea, and I think if anybody wants or deserves to have information on Bateman, it would be Jester herself. So
It could also have a unique opportunity with this new pack coming in. If any of them prove to be well trained and suitable, this is a new opportunity for operatives who have not been identified yet that could provide cover.
I agree.
But they will be tested first, thoroughly tested.
Good. One last thing, and Eliza, you're going to want to listen to this as well. There is a piece of Grandmother Willow out there, and we are supposed to find it and destroy it.
A piece.
A partial, yes, a piece of her, a bit of her.
Do you have any further detail on that, or?
Well, I never. Oh, go ahead, Jester.
I was going to say they might need more explanation of where you got the information from.
Right. I ended up not really going into detail about my interaction with patron situation. Charles was there. Charles was there when it happened as well, but Grandmother Willow was summoned in a way. And while talking to her, she said there is a piece of her, but it is different. It's not like her. And that if we find it, if we see it, we destroy it because it is not her anymore.
All right. Let me look into this and see if I can. That's an interesting quandary. I can't say I've heard of things like that before. Usually, spirits fall subject to banes or can be twisted, but I've never heard them being separated before in such a manner. If so, they're usually destroyed and returned to the spirit wilds, like she was. But let me think on it.
She's a tree. Plant. That's a pretty common word we've been using tonight. There could be a connection there.
Actually, a great point. So as Eliza gets more information, maybe it'll give us I don't know, a bit of a heads up with all of the things being connected, because maybe they all are very much connected.
Eliza, if you need help with that, just reach out to me.
Actually, I very much would. We have not spent nearly enough time together since your arrival. I think we have much to speak on and catch up about. I'd love to hear more about your learnings up in Columbus.
Yeah, I've got a couple stories I can share with you.
I am all ears.
Well, good. That is all I had to bring to this meeting. Plants, Endron, Bateman, the connections between all of it and Piney Point are all things to be considered. I would like to know what happens with the leech house after that is all concluded, and I guess we are all going to have a pack biker bar
Get
outing.
together. Outing. Sure.
wonderful.
It'll be fun. For me, at least.
I'm a great time. What are you talking about?
So, as the meeting is called to an end, and as the pack disperses to go about their separate business before reconvening at the biker bar the next day, Aspen pulls aside Jason, in her words, Dreams-In-Decay, Thorne, for a conversation. The scene is yours.
Jason, I wanted to speak with you a little bit before you left.
That didn't take long for me to get in trouble. All right, let's go. Let's do it. What happened?
Nobody said you were in trouble.
Sorry, that's usually how these things go.
We've not had a private conversation. You've not talked to your SEP leader at your old place often.
They are very different than you are.
Well, I hope they were just as great. I wanted to talk to you about what your goals are here.
Let's try to. I think I already stated about that. You're right. We haven't had the one-on-one. It's to try and get things figured out. We're trying to help you guys down here. Just from the things that I heard and coming down here, just saw that a few pieces are being dropped, and I'm just here to try and help pick them up.
Would it help if you were a bit more educated of what was going on here? Do you have any questions about?
I have so many. I didn't want to interrupt during the meeting. Who's Bateman? You guys said his name a lot.
Bateman is a leech that we've had a lot of trouble with. So recently we had taken out Bloody Mary. I don't know if you know about that. Bloody Mary was a very strong leech that took out the last sept. Bateman being connected to all of that as well. We took care of Bloody Mary, and Bateman is still in play, and we would like to get him out of play if possible, because he seems to have his hands in a lot of things that are becoming problematic, and it would be a much better place without him around. He's also a lawyer with a lot of connections, hence the and Bateman situation firm. But yes, that's who Bateman is.
So do you need dirt on the guy?
I would absolutely love dirt on the guy. Any dirt on the guy would be phenomenal.
If the SEP leader is asking, more than happy to provide.
It is a bit of a problem, hence why we've not taken him out before. He kind of squirrels away in a big old building in downtown Tampa. So we tend not to see him or have a way of really getting to information about him. We're working on it, but if you have a unique way, it'd be wonderful.
There's a few ways that information can be gathered without actually being present for a couple things. And there's some things that I gotta talk to Rat about, but I can see what can be done about this Bateman guy. Also talked about the cult is present.
The cult of Fenris. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
The cult of Fenris was around recently. Yes, we had dealings with them. After the hurricanes, they seem to have dispersed. Not sure if they're still within the area, but as far as where we knew of their location, they were not there the last time we checked.
Okay. So one less possible. Okay. I'll put that to the side then. I haven't met this Artie guy. What's he like?
Artie is wonderful. He's very attentive to the needs of the pack, and he quite savvy with technology and just a all-around lovely person.
And Ryder, that name was brought up.
Ryder was the old Sept leader. After Blackrock was killed by Bloody Mary, Ryder took over. After the encounter with Bloody Mary that took out most of his Sept, he fell into Hoglosk, and he had been lost to that. And we had some interactions with him when we first got here. Some good, most not so good. But he's kind of become the thorn in our side that we all kind of weirdly appreciate. But Bateman, let me back up a little bit. Bateman put a lot of Jester's people into jail. There was a big situation with that. Ryder offered to get her people out of jail. They went and made that happen for the most part, but not without a serious injury to Ryder that took his life. But he lingered around Jester for quite a while afterwards. But since we've taken care of Bloody Mary, he is no longer, I guess, a presence, a strong presence around here.
Okay. I'm kind of getting a better picture of that. So those are my goal overall, is to help with this spirit side of it. And I like digging up secrets. So anyone you want dirt on, just let me know.
I was thinking, as far as Piney Point goes, because it is a bit risky to have all of us, or any of us, go that direction. We're playing with fire, really, if we were to go there. If you could do any talking or convincing of spirit to take a look around,
I can see
get a
what I
better
can do.
idea on both sides of what we're looking at.
Yeah, that's easy enough. Yeah, that should be relatively easy. As far as what's going on with the Lucas side of things, he's saying he's trying to get a better understanding of what's going on. I found if you start with the little people, those are the ones that seep through the cracks, and they know the most stuff. I heard about a little soup kitchen. That's usually where people will talk a lot, where you can get a lot of information, because they'll talk about all their findings while eating. And food's a great mediator to have conversation going.
Okay. Where is the soup kitchen?
I haven't been there yet. I just know it's north. That doesn't help from where we're at currently. Kent, which direction is it from here?
So it would actually be to the south of here, actually, the southeast of here.
Southeast here. Little place. One of the people I met here told me about it.
Well, I would say be careful around that area.
Okay.
Just not in. Jester and I went on an excursion to find holy water for Bloody Mary. We still have that, which is great to have in our employ. But while there, we had an encounter with someone who knew about us and the leeches and all of it in between, and were not fond of us at all. So you could get yourself into a lot of trouble. And I know when we were there, they spoke of soup kitchens in the area.
Okay.
So before you get yourself in trouble and have to, we all have to get you out of it, I think it's better that you know.
I'll tiptoe around a little bit, maybe get a better idea what I'm walking into before I just go and help. A little bit about one of my soft spots are soup kitchens. They've helped me out a lot. So I'll try to be as available as I can, but if I'm in a soup kitchen, I usually don't have my phone on me. I'm with the people. Just giving you a heads up.
Okay. Well, in case of emergencies, you could have
I usually have like an earpiece in or something in case, and it'll let me know who's calling. But if I'm not getting to it right away, but if it is you, maybe I'll just run to my phone. If you're calling, I'm assuming it's not a social call.
more than likely it wouldn't be Jason. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with all of that, we could look into soup kitchens here, see what we can do around the area to help out. I think helping the people around here as well as the spirits is gonna, well, benefit us both, benefit all of us in the grand scheme of things. So I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah. Well, you asked about my goal here. I know what yours is.
My goal has been an uphill climb, but it is to get more Guru around here, take care of the leech problem so that it's not looming over everyone's head who tries to come here, take care of Gaia in the process, which in turn means getting rid of the leeches, having more Guru here to take care of the problems here, and along the way, take care of the little problems where I can, and whether that's legally or with the pack, we will do our best.
A lot of goals.
It's a lot to do.
I hope you have a strong enough back for it, but your pack here seems to support you. So help you out with those.
Absolutely. Pack has been perfect for getting these things done and making sure that we're all there for each other and looking out for each other.
Good. The biker
Uh,
bar thing,
Mm-hmm.
that's a mandatory thing, huh?
I would say yes, mandatory. Morale is a little up and down as of lately, and I think us all doing something together would be beneficial for everyone, especially the new guy.
How about can we make it interesting?
What are you thinking?
Well, I have a bar, but you had a beer with me. I like secrets. How about we play a drinking game while we're there? Do a couple shots. If every shot you reveal a secret.
Do I get the same deal?
Oh, absolutely. Anything you want to know.
Okay. I think that it's an interesting way to get to know each other. Sure. But
game we used to play.
before we do any of that, I do have one more request from you since we haven't had a theurge in a long time.
Sure. What can I do for you?
If you could keep all of the spirits up to snuff about what is going on, like as far as the flowers and things. I'm sure they already know, but I think they would like to hear it from us as well.
I do plan on going to the area where you guys were at. I'm going to try and see what's going on there, try and talk to some of the spirits, see if I can glean more of what was going on. It's just weird that someone deliberately walked out there and put that at the base of a tree.
Absolutely. The fact that they're physically planting them is concerning.
Yeah.
Jester knows the area pretty well. If you need any help kind of getting around that park.
Yeah. And someone to watch my back, that'd be helpful.
She's great at that. So
most Black Furies are all of them. Like
they're more of the stand in front and break the thing so you can walk through. But they're good at both.
Exactly. Yeah. Or the person in front. Break that guy so I can get past, please.
Right. Well, I'm interested in this plan you have for the bar. See what happens.
Yeah, it should be fun.
So, with some more solid and concrete foundations, with a solid understanding of one another and their ambitions, there are still a lot of secrets to be shared, and maybe more to be unveiled at a future meeting. We all know that when you add alcohol to any situation, things are bound to get a little incendiary. But before we get to that, we have one last scene in the first act of tonight's story. Lucas, ever since your arrival in Tampa, you've been trying to bring a little bit of nature to a rather urban environment. Now, one thing that can be said about Florida is that they do a pretty good job of preserving nature throughout a rather urban area. Now, in inland Florida, it's pretty easy to do. Not a lot of people want to live in inland Florida, but it's also a swamp, and during a good majority of the year, the conditions are almost unlivable with the humidity combined with the heat and the lack of breeze. But near the coastline, in areas like Tampa and St. Petersburg, all up and down the beaches, this is where the urban sprawl is especially apparent. And gardens are few and far between. So a small coalition of individuals have tried their best in legal and sometimes not so legal ways to try and make nature have its hold over the rather urban environment. And one of those individuals is one you had grown rather close with since your arrival, a young woman by the name of Danielle Boucher. In fact, you've grown so close that you had taken up residence in an apartment above her garage, and that's where you had been staying ever since your arrival. So as our scene begins, you are out on one of these subterfuged excursions to do some planting, a little bit of suburban gardening. Now, this is actually a legitimate and legal outing this time, as Danielle wanted to go check on some of her urban gardens that she'd already established, some of them on the rooftops of some of the buildings, some of them in back alleys and lots that had been designated for the purposes of gardens. And you'd asked to tag along, partially with the intentions of looking for any of these strange plants that had been popping up around the area, but also just to spend some time with a friend that you haven't had the opportunity to spend time with in a while. So as our scene begins, you are climbing the staircase of a fire escape off the back of one of the smaller 3 or 4 story high-rise buildings in downtown Tampa, a brick building affair that has a storefront down on the first level, but apartments on the second and third level, going up to the rooftop where she has established a garden on the top. And as she climbs, her heavy combat boots ring off of the stairs as she makes her way up, her hand reaching for the railing and grabbing, as she has a satchel over one side with gardening supplies, trowels, and extra dirt kind of shoved in the side, and seeds and everything else she needs pocketed in the side as she makes her way up. I'm surprised you decided to come with me this time. You've been so busy.
Yeah, I needed some green time.
I get it.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's been a wild few months. I've been spending more and more time with the gardens than I have in a while. Just can't really bear being connected to the rest of the world.
Yeah,
not these days.
It's all screwed up right now, but it looks like mostly everything made it through winter, so
yeah, it was a rather unusual winter, and after the hurricanes I really didn't think it was going to handle, but Tampa didn't get hit as hard as I expected. I tried to put up some precautionary measures, and then the storms, even though they came straight up the bay, weren't as bad as they expected.
it's Good. That's good. I planted some stuff here and there around other places, but most of what I set out didn't really do too well after the hurricane. So looks like I'm starting over.
Yeah, you mentioned the botanical gardens. How's the recovery effort going there?
I I think Luis is doing fine. She said that, you know, they got hit pretty decently. They were going to do some fundraising. I helped them get a hold of some fertilizer, and yeah, I think they're gonna pull through. You know, funding is what funding is, so hopefully they can secure that.
Well, good. I'm glad. And if there's anything I can do, let me know. I've been collecting some of the more exotic things I've come across when I've been out and about and trying to keep a small collection of seeds just in case.
Anything spicy?
Nothing unusual that I've seen so far, just, some of the more invasive things. I've tried to remove stuff that's a little bit more harmful, but, you know, things you don't see every now and then. Birds of paradise, the like, stuff that may have gotten blown about from the more exotic collections.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you if you see anything weird, can you let me know?
Should I be looking out for anything? What have you heard?
New stuff.
Really?
Really, really weird new stuff.
What kind of weird new stuff?
Some friends of mine found, I don't know what it is. It's some, maybe it was some hybrid or some GMO garbage. It might have been an iris, it might have been a lily, but it was, the coloring on it was completely wild. And as soon as they clipped it, because I mean they know I like plants, so they were going to bring it to me, and they know if I can cultivate a good flower, I can sell it for a little bit of scratch. But they picked it, and it didn't even make it an hour before it started to break down. It's wild. It's the weirdest shit I've ever seen.
That's insane. Yeah, I haven't heard of anything like that, but I'll definitely keep my eyes out. Although, maybe they just have a black thumb.
Huh. I mean, that's, oh boy, is that exceptionally possible. They're not the greatest when it comes to stuff like that. Anyway, um, how's the rest of the crew?
Oh, they're doing good. They're spreading out pretty far and wide. We've got a couple of ops going on, I guess you could say, especially along the river walk. We're trying to get some planter beds set up around the light posts along the river walk. Although, you know, traffic being what it is, people aren't very careful about where they walk, especially after they've been drinking on a weekend night. And we do the best we can to keep them clean, but with everything being as it is, it's getting a little bit more dangerous out on the streets lately. I don't know what's been happening, but ever since, I don't know, a couple of months ago or weeks ago, things have just gotten more and more dangerous, and we usually like to move at night, and it's not been as safe to be out at night.
What's been going on?
I think people are angry and desperate with things being as they are and the climate. People are getting violent from the sounds of it. We've heard about people getting mugged and beaten, and even some of our own people have been roughed up when they've been out and about. We've been trying to send them out in bigger groups to try and stave it off, but even Sam had to go to the hospital. They were found unconscious on the side of the road, beaten pretty bad.
What the hell is going on?
I don't know. It's not safe. So it's been a little bit harder to do the more, well, you know, covert stuff.
Is it really that bad here? I don't know. Maybe I haven't been paying attention.
It didn't used to be. Time was you could just head out in certain areas. I mean, of course, every place has the rough neighborhoods, and we would avoid those places. But now it seems to just be anywhere and everywhere at random.
That's not cool. Not at all.
No.
Look, if you guys run into any serious trouble, like somebody disappears or somebody gets really, really, really hurt, right? Call the cops, do the right thing. But then I want you to immediately call me.
Are you Batman?
That is a loaded question. But truth of the matter is that yeah, I know some people. That's more or less what it is. Less Batman and just a very, very poor Bruce Wayne. I know people and I got access to some stuff. So
Neighborhood watch. Got it.
that's about the level we're talking here. Yeah, the very low level stuff.
Well, we could use it. I mean, the police have never been particularly good around here. They only respond to the really big stuff. And I get it. You know, big cities like this, there's always something going on, whether it's car accidents or big robberies or but that doesn't make it easier for the everyday people. You know, they still need help too, and they get forgotten about or missed until it's too late, or they have to keep waiting, and the response time is not great. And even Sam, who knows how long they were laying there before they got found and picked up.
Is he still in the hospital?
They were released. You know, it was just unconscious. Apparently, they had been bleeding for a while, so they needed a blood transfusion, but
Can you give me their number?
yeah, of course.
I'm not gonna bother him. I'm just
No,
gonna.
at least you can wish him well. He's
Yeah,
okay now. He's out. He's just, we haven't been pushing for him to come back anytime soon. You know, after an incident like that, you need some time off.
yeah. Let him take his time. But I wanna ask him if he knows anything.
Yeah, of course.
Because you know the cops here suck. They're not gonna do shit. So if I could track down something, I might be able to get that information into the right hands, and that person could do something.
Yeah. So you reach the top of the stairs. You can see that there are 3 decently sized garden beds made out of 2x4s that are kind of stretched out in long sections, nailed together with a plywood bottom filled with dirt. And there are several plants in various states of growth coming out of the garden boxes along the top of this roof in nice long rows. And almost immediately, Danielle moves to one of the rows and kneels down at one end and starts moving along, diligently starting to weed out weeds from one end of the garden box, putting in some fertilizer as she goes, watering from a hose that seems to be hooked up to one end of the top of the rooftop where there's a spigot at the end of the roof.
Lucas will go through, and any of the other planters that she's not working on, he'll do the same thing, and he'll take some of the soil out, rub his hands in it, and smell it, and kind of look around just to see if anything is out of the ordinary.
Okay, give me a wits and investigation.
3 successes.
As you're moving along your garden box, you don't notice anything unusual. Now, it may be because this particular garden is hidden, it's a little bit more obscure, it's a little out of the way, and it's not like it's mapped anywhere. It's not like it's pinned or it's public accessible. This seems to be a very obscure place to go. And intentionally. If everybody knew where this was, it probably wouldn't be long before effectively garden poachers would come trying to get plants or trying to get free food or whatever the case may be. So you don't notice anything unusual. As you're moving through your garden bed, the silence is broken as Danielle lets out a huge sneeze.
You getting allergies over there?
Yeah, it's been really bad this year. I think the storms and everything have just shaken up a whole bunch of pollen. She pulls a handkerchief out of her sundress and blows her nose into it.
Are you sure those hurricanes were a while ago?
It's not just the hurricanes, it's the rainfall and the heat and cold. It's been dropping from 40 degrees, then up to 70s. You know how these things go.
Okay, well.
Are you worrying about me, Lucas?
I'm just saying, you can't be a good guerrilla gardener if you start to develop allergies. That's kind of like the antithesis of what you should have, right?
It's getting close to spring, and we just had that cold front come through. It's nothing I haven't had before. Don't worry about me.
If that happens to you, I'm not going to know where all the hidden places are, so nothing can happen to you.
Nothing's going to happen to me, Lucas.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll let you know if I see anything unusual. But I haven't seen anything yet. I try to keep my eyes and ears out as best as possible, but so far it's just business as usual, other than the danger of the streets.
I got some moves that I'm working on right now. At some point, I'm gonna probably give you a phone number. And if you guys feel like you're going into an area that you're not comfortable in, I want you to call that number.
Okay.
We'll see. I gotta go somewhere and have some tough conversations with people, but protection. I might be able to arrange some form of protection.
Neighborhood watch is getting bigger, it sounds like.
Well, not Batman yet, but we're getting there.
But a Wish.com Bruce Wayne, got it.
It's like a Tenmu. We're not quite at Wish yet.
Tenmu. Boy.
We're gonna get Tenmu, Wish, Etsy. We're gonna work our way up. Yeah.
So you're got it. Pepper spray.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good idea.
Okay.
All right. Do you need anything?
I'm okay.
Okay. Could I ask you for some seeds?
Yes.
Okay. Preferably vegetables and fruits.
I've got them. She fishes in the satchel and pulls out a couple of packets of squash seeds, tomato seeds, a packet of orange seeds, and some raspberry seeds.
Perfect.
I'm heading up to the Strawberry Festival this weekend, so do you want me to get you anything while I'm up there?
Strawberries, of course.
Of course. They're also selling pine berries this year.
Anything and everything.
I got you.
Before I leave, I want to kind of give her a glance over to see if there's anything unusual.
Sure. Are you looking for emotional or physical? Because insight or medicine is going to be the determination.
Physical.
Let's give me a wits and medicine.
One success.
Nothing. I mean, she's a little bit. You can see that she's glistening a little bit, but that could be from the hard work. She's got her eyes are a little bit, glistening, and her nose is running. Again, very common allergy symptoms. Nothing of the unusual. But otherwise, she seems to be in perfect health. Nothing strange.
Okay. All right. Call me as soon as you get back from Strawberry Fest.
You worry too much.
I'd like to make sure the people that I think are okay are okay.
I will. Besides, you live above my garage. It's not like you're not going to notice when I'm not home.
Fair. Very fair.
So as you head off, the news of what's happening is hitting closer to home. The streets are getting more dangerous. While the destruction of Bloody Mary was long overdue for the city of Tampa, the fallout in the wake, the disruption of order in the society of leeches, what kind of impact and what kind of collateral damage did that cause? And what kind of harm is that causing to the world of men and women? We'll be right back in just a few minutes with the second half of tonight's story. See you shortly.
St. Petersburg by Night is brought to you through collaborations with our partnered vendors, Wolfpack Dice, Ember Fox Dice, Dragon Ink Dice, Bear the Bard, Champs Tramps, Penshi Artista, and Chromatic Creations. Links to our partnered vendors, as well as our Twitch and YouTube channels, can be found on our website, stpbynight.com. The official theme song for St. Petersburg by Night is Vampire by Faith and Failure. You could find them at faithandfailure.com. You can follow St. Pete by Night on all socials with the hashtag St. Pete by Night. If you wish to support our program, you could do so at coffee.com/St. Pete by Night to help keep the stories rolling.
Welcome back. In the first half, the pack had a very, very important catch-up where they got everybody caught up on the affairs of everything happening in Tampa. Aspen and Jester filled in the pack on this newest development of these unusual plants that are being spotted all about the city and the strange growths that are occurring and abilities that they seem to have. Lucas and Jace filled in the pack on the status of the hive of leeches that is forming in one of the more run-down neighborhoods in the area. Aspen started doling out titles like they were candy to the members of the pack because a new pack is coming in and there needs to be some official sounding titles amongst the pack, or else who are they going to answer to and how is this going to sound official and, like they know what they're doing. And after that, Aspen and Jace started to get on the same level, and maybe some respect started to get shared between the two. As much respect as two strangers can have when they're starting out the early days of an understanding between them. And Lucas went with an associate, Danielle, to a rooftop garden where Lucas started to find out just how rough the cities of Tampa have become since Bloody Mary's demise and the effect it's having on some of his close associates and normal everyday people in the city. But now, as we come to the second half of tonight's story, we find ourselves at a very familiar biker club. A long, black rectangular building, painted completely black, the windows boarded over, a place that this pack has become more and more familiar with over the past year and a half. A place that was once the home of Ryder, but has since become the home of some allies, perhaps even eventually turned associates and friends. The motorcycle gang, formerly known as the Mongols, now currently an unnamed group of vagabonds who still do some very important work in the area, but have some rough around the edges features all their own. As you arrive inside the building, it is, as it always is, a smoky, hazy, loud environment. The music pulsating as some heavy rock metal anthem greets you at the doorway, as does the large, lumbering, overweight figure known as Sticky Ricky, the sergeant at arms who greets you at the door, waiting for you once you make your way in. As soon as he sees Aspen, he yells out, "Pinecone! You're back so soon! That's strange. Come on
Rick
in."
Rat. Absolutely.
As all of you make your way in, Eliza seems strangely comfortable in the environment. She's dressed in a denim jacket, which nobody has ever seen her wear before, though it looks like it's been dug out of something that a box that has been buried deep in some storage unit for far too long, and the patches on it are very, very, very faded. But they have the names of bands like Pink Floyd and Willie Nelson stitched into the denim of the jacket. She is also wearing a long patterned skirt that has frayed and frills that go down almost to her feet, and she is wearing cowboy boots on her feet that have heels that clatter on the floor beneath them. Her hair is loose down to her shoulders, and she has a shirt that just seems to hang off of one shoulder beneath the denim jacket. She looks like she's dressed for a outdoor music festival on this particular evening. Despite her age, it gives her a very youthful appearance. Charles, however, looks like Charles always does, buttoned up in a suit and tie, completely sticking out like a sore thumb, like he does not belong here in the slightest, and he is making that very apparent with how obviously uncomfortable he is to be here. Go ahead and describe how you are all attired this evening, as you have come for a night of merriment and introductions with the biker gang. Starting with Aspen.
So Aspen is definitely dressed down. She has kind of a matching track jacket and like athletic leggings kind of on that match each other with a bit of a like a black crop top underneath the jacket. Her hair is just down at her shoulders. And she is pretty casual from what she usually wears in her business suit and things to go do business and get the firm up and running. So she's a lot more relaxed looking, and she stands next to Sticky Ricky as everybody else goes inside.
Okay. Jester.
So lately Jester has been dressing in a like kind of a bohemian punk mixture, but this time it's more biker punk than it is bohemian. She is wearing a leather jacket with a cropped tank top underneath that has a picture of Medusa that says the female gaze, petrify the patriarchy, jeans, heels, and a plethora, like really where the bohemian part is, she's wearing a plethora of jewelry, bracelets, rings, necklaces, just a whole bunch.
Lucas.
Lucas is wearing jeans. He's got a short sleeve white t-shirt on. He's got his typical black beanie on. He does have a belt on with a biker chain going back to his wallet and a long knife sheath on his left side that's holding his clave. He's got some bracelets on. his Stormcrow bracelets, and a couple of rings on, but nothing very interesting.
And finally, Jace.
Jace is in his regular casual wear. He's got some black Converse on, got some tattered blue regular jeans, black belt, black shirt underneath, or black shirt, and then a black denim jacket over the top with a black cap.
At this point, Eliza slips an arm through Jace's arm and says, "Buy me a drink, handsome."
Don't have to ask me twice. See if this guy can actually make drinks, right?
It's been a while. Go easy on me now.
I'll try. Go easy on me. And I'll walk her to the bar.
I don't
Ricky,
even get a high, Ricky.
Jester, I always have a high for you.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
It's been a while. Why aren't you coming by anymore?
I've been dealing with some things.
Dealing with some things.
Yeah, personal stuff.
Oh, well, it's best not to bring those things around here.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to see you. You're looking good.
Well, thank you. You're looking good too.
Well, I've been exercising, can't you tell?
Yeah.
And he
Oh.
pats his belly with the loud cacophonous slapping.
Definitely working it out.
Well, come in. Make yourself comfortable. You brought the whole gang tonight.
Yeah, there's a couple people I want to introduce you to. We have some new folks in town that, I want you to at least meet once.
What's with the suit? You bring your lawyer? Am I getting sued?
No. He's
I
just
mean, I already knew you had one, but two?
He's actually not a lawyer.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Stockbroker?
No.
Undertaker?
No.
I'm
You
running
can tell
out
him
of
what you do.
ties.
This is Charles.
Men's Warehouse.
He is
Charles
that big.
just stares blankly at Ricky. I work for Miss Weiss. See, I thought I said lawyer.
Other people besides lawyers can work for.
What is he, a secretary? Is he your secretary?
That is, yes, he's my secretary.
Nice. Nice.
This is the best night ever. I'm just gonna walk to the bar.
And Lucas, good to see you.
Ricky, I want to
Coming
thank you for
around
having
more
me.
often.
Yeah, thank you for having me the other night. It was informative.
Well, I'm glad we could help.
How's Larry doing?
He's doing. We're running him ragged, but he seems to be keeping up. He's
When are you
earning
gonna
his stripes slowly but surely.
I was gonna say, when are you gonna patch that kid in?
Well, he's only been here like 6 months, you know. You gotta be around for at least a year.
He's smart.
He is. He keeps his eyes open, keeps his eyes and ears open, but he's been bumming around the place for a few years now. We just only vested him up 6 months ago, but he's been hanging around since he was a kid.
Good. I think he'll be really valuable to you guys.
I think so too. He's one of the good ones. His pops used to run with us years ago, but you know how these things go. Trying to live up to the old man's legacy.
Yeah, let's go get a table. Can we go sit in the back?
Yeah, come on in. As you
I'm
make
gonna I'm gonna walk with Ricky and kind of hold him to the side. Like, hey, Rick Rat, I need a huge favor.
Pinecone, anything for you. What do you need?
Okay, so you see the new guy that we came in with, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He looks like the type to come around here begging for scraps.
Right, exactly. He's trying to, impress me with alcohol and stuff, but I'm not a big drinker, right?
Right?
Could you let Larry know that anytime we get shots together, whether I pay for him or he does, to either give me water or flat Coke, whether he goes with whiskey or vodka? Can you do that for me?
Give me a charisma and persuasion. And yes, you can add beautiful, and yes, you can add your favor.
That is 8 with a crit.
Oh. Doing a little bit of hazing, are we?
Yeah, a little bit. And I just think it might be fun.
Well, you're gonna have to do something for me.
Absolutely anything for you. She leans in and kisses him on the cheek.
Such a charmer. He wanders over towards the bar and says, Larry, over here. And from behind the bar, a head pops up as the young man, Larry, in his prospect vest, comes running from one end of the bar down to the end. Yeah, Ricky. We need more Bud Lights. Why don't you go to the back and get them with me? Sure thing, boss. And the two of them head to the back. Over at the bar, Eliza looks towards Jace. So what are we drinking first?
Well, where are you from?
Savannah.
Okay. How
But
about
if
we
you
do a
get me
couple?
some peach schnapps, I swear to God, I will unalive you right here. I'll make you spirit. I ain't one of
we're
them.
not- All right. How about just a nice sunrise daiquiri then?
Sure, let's start with that.
Okay, because I was definitely going to suggest something peach, but we'll avoid everything peach. Peach are gross.
Oh no, peaches are perfectly fine.
Okay, good. All right, good. Cause I like a peach snap personally, but
No, that's just what everyone goes to when they think of me. First thing. You got to get a few drinks in you first before you start bringing out the schnapps. That's all I'm saying.
fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm not that stereotypical.
As I move beside them on the beer or the bar, she likes beer.
Oh, beer. I was going to start right off with the hard stuff. Although it's a daiquiri, so you could drink like 12 of them and be fine till you stand up.
Till I stand up.
Saying you could drink more than that and be just fine? Well, it's a
You
lot.
know what we are, right?
I'm well aware.
If it only takes 12, I worry that you didn't spend enough time in the change. Maybe Gaia prematurely pushed you out.
We'll have to wait and see then.
After a few moments, Larry comes back with a big case of Bud Light on his shoulder, puts it down behind the bar. All right, drinks. What do we got?
Need a couple sunrise daiquiris. Two of the Jester, you want anything?
I'll have an old fashioned.
Ooh, yeah. One of those. Lucas, my treat for first round.
Bourbon neat, and I'd suggest that Charles probably wants something spicy.
Spicy? Like a smoked drink or like actual?
Oh, no,
Like, kicking it?
he was a huge fan of this habanero sour that I got him this one time. He loved it. So find something like that for him.
Well, I think Larry, what I heard. You have
Yeah,
anything like that?
I'm
That
sure I can put something together. Yeah.
okay. And boss, what about you?
Well, you had the whole idea, and she'll slide in on a bar stool next to him. So you let me know.
All right, and 2 shots of bourbon.
You got it. Immediately, Larry turns around, starts getting drinks ready. As he's in the process of making the drinks, you see one of the back doors open, and an older woman who probably looks about this age of Eliza, but looks far more aged than Eliza. Like, probably looks much more Eliza's age than Eliza looks right now. Also wearing a leather vest, pushes her way out. And all throughout the bar, a chorus of Susan comes in as she's walking in with several paper bags in her arms and a large, kind of big pot around one arm. She says, "Are any of you assholes gonna help me with this shit or what?" And several guys kind of immediately pop up off their seats and go running to help her, taking stuff out of her hands and arms. And one of them picks up the pot and starts carrying it over to one of the tables.
Jester,
wave to her.
who is that?
She's the bar, or she's the club mom.
Ah, got it.
Almost immediately, Susan starts taking charge as she starts laying out a buffet of food, like bowl of chips, but also as she opens the pot, a big wafting smell wafts over the bar as you can smell a very strong odor of a roast stew. It smells very, very succulent and strong, like a very strong odor, but it's almost mouth-watering in the smell of herbs and long roasted meat coming from the stew.
Queen bitch here, if you want to call her that. Probably not to her face. She might laugh though.
Or get slapped.
Maybe not you.
Oh, nice.
You're kind of cute.
After a few moments, Larry turns back and starts putting the drinks on the bar, one after another, passing one shot to Jace and one to Aspen, making sure to put palms over the top as he passes them into both of your hands.
Thanks, Larry.
All right, what was the deal? A shot for a secret?
That's it.
All right, you first.
All right. Let's see. How do I want to start this one off?
Let's go to a table.
Yeah.
As you all step away from the bar, moving over towards one of the corners of the room, away from the pool table where most of the other bikers have congregated, as that's where they seem to have laid out the spread of food. You find a more remote corner, and Sticky Ricky looks over from his spot by the door and kind of gives a wink towards Aspen, and then looks towards the other bikers. And as some of the bikers grab their plates of food and start moving in the same vicinity as where you are all congregating, Ricky kind of clears his throat and shakes his head at them, and they all kind of turn back and move back in the direction that they came from.
All right. First one. My favorite song is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Take it back.
I don't know if that's as much of a secret as it is.
Is that something you would want people just to know right out about you, that your favorite song is a nursery rhyme?
Fair enough. I grew up with a single mom, and she'll just take her fake shot.
We're gonna need more shots. Larry, could Aspen,
I
can
got
you
him.
help? Cool.
I got him. I'm gonna head to the bar.
Okay. You can see Larry's down at the other end putting bottles on the bar as bikers are coming to, but as he notices you, he slides down to your end. They done already? Kind of figured. And he has a bottle and he puts the bottle and several shot glasses on the end of the bar and just runs the bottle down the shot glasses, filling one end, but then he pulls several shot glasses under the bar and then pulls them back up on top and they are filled. These are for her.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Ricky's orders.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Ricky's orders. Ricky's orders. I got some questions for you though.
Sure.
Um, First of all, did Ryder ever talk about an enemy he had? Someone he really wanted to see go down?
Ryder didn't talk very much at all. And when
Okay.
he did, it was usually just like where they were going and what they were doing. And it was a lot of, I'll tell you when we get there.
Fair, fair. And I don't know. He was before your time, a lot of it, wasn't he?
I mean, I've been around, I was basically born in this place.
Fair, fair. Well, I know he did have an enemy and we got her. So I didn't know if anybody knew about it or wanted to know, but
Ricky would know. Ricky, he's probably the longest running. You know, a lot of us come and go.
mm-hmm.
They move on to other areas, other chapters, the like. But Ricky's kind of been the tried and true one. And Bruce, he took over after Ryder left. Well, Ryder fell, and he's been interim president. Nobody's wanted to step up and take true presidency because, you know, out of respect, we wanted to give some time.
Yeah.
And like, how can you replace a guy like that? We wanted to give it some time before we decided anything, but Bruce has been doing the job at least, and Ricky, he's kind of the honorary sergeant at arms forever.
Did he ever want to take over as president or?
Ricky?
Yeah.
No.
Well. Hey. Sometimes you do have to move on though.
Yeah. Just waiting for the right one.
It's fair. It's fair. Okay. So, completely, well, yeah, mostly unrelated. Have you heard anything talking to people, violence, people going missing? Like we've heard talk of like some new group moving in, and they've been pretty rough on the streets.
He watches you, not answering. Yeah, I've heard things. Things have gotten a lot rough. More rough recently. I don't know how new it is. I just think that disorder is starting to take hold. You topple the queen and the pawns start to run wild.
Anybody sticking their head out and trying to claim the new throne?
I think they all are. In their own way. I don't think anybody's trying to gun for the actual job, but gangs are running their own territories.
Okay. What about oh, mention the area that the house is in, the particular hive is in. Have you heard anything about that area in particular?
That's a rough neighborhood. It was already rough before, but now it's even more rough.
Okay. Thanks. I'll leave him an extra for a tip.
There are things we're not supposed to know. Unusual things. And I get it. But when a lawyer, a beatnik, a goth, a hippie, all come in wanting to meet with Ryder, and he doesn't seem to mind. We don't ask questions because we were taught not to, because we trusted that we didn't need to know the things we weren't supposed to know. But in our own way, we know.
I always suspected. But knowing for certain always puts you in a whole new ball game. I don't think you want to be in that.
That's why we don't ask. We just do what we're told. My dad died because of them.
Sorry.
I'm not. He was loyal to Ryder because Ryder wanted to make these streets safer for us. Against things that we weren't supposed to know or understand. Somebody's got to. So we did. Don't forget those are for her.
I won't. And hey. We're trying to make the streets safer too.
I figured. So wouldn't be any other reason you'd keep coming back here.
Maybe I like the music.
I'm sure that's it.
And the company.
Yeah, I heard. He hasn't stopped talking
Oh
about
my
it
God.
since.
I'm going now. I'll pick up the tray and leave. Wait, is he here?
You look across the bar and you connect eyes with an especially decent, good looking young biker who has been watching from the other side, kind of trying to look cool, leaned against the wall, holding onto a cocktail, making eyes at you.
Shit, I'm just going straight to the table.
Back at the table, Jester returns with a tray of shots.
Ooh,
2
perfect.
rows.
My turn.
I think that's the game. Yeah.
All right. When I was 8, I convinced my foster parents to let me stay up late. I saw my dad watching things he shouldn't have been doing on the computer. And so I told him I wouldn't say anything if he let me stay up another 2 hours late for a couple weeks. And I haven't told anybody that ever.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, I guess if we're gonna just do silly stories, I have read Lord of the Rings far more than any normal person should.
I doubt it.
We're gonna need a number there, because a lot of people say that.
Well, since I was old enough and smart enough to read that book, I've read that book at least once a month, every year for the whole of my life. And I say at least once a month, and that's lowballing it.
Charles actually does look impressed as his eyebrows raise and he nods his head. I surrender the point.
Didn't take
Appreciate
you
it.
as a Tolkien fan.
It was a comfort book when I was young. I used to have it read to me by a good family friend.
All right.
You bow to no one.
All right. Get a little deep here. I ran with a small time gang in Columbus when I was a teenager. Now, that was a long time ago, and no one's pressing charges about anything that happened. So the whole lawyer thing doesn't apply to that, right?
Not really I'm not representing you, so I don't think it really matters.
Ooh.
I don't know, Jester, Lucas, do you want to get in on this little game?
Come play.
Charles?
Sure. Are we doing shots?
Yep.
Lucas will pick up one of the shot glasses and hold it up. It's Lucas Stormrunner Shaw. They didn't even know that.
I like it.
We'll take a drink.
I'll pick up one of Aspen's. I was a My Little Pony fan as a character, or as a kid.
Who is your favorite? Or is
Pinkie
that
Pie.
fair?
Though I think she's everybody's favorite, but you know.
As you take the drink, Jester, you recognize that it is very flat Coke. Now, you can roll a manipulation and subterfuge to go with the lie, or you can reveal the secret that it is not alcohol.
I'll do manipulation and subterfuge. Can I use my facade
Yeah,
specialty?
absolutely. If anyone wants to try and insight this, they can. But if they don't
gonna
think
spend
they
a
have any
willpower.
reason to,
3 successes.
okay. It's a pretty convincing anyway.
Hey, look, a wince could be for flat Coke or alcohol.
That's true. It is pretty disgusting.
I've always been more of an Applejack fan myself.
Applejack's good.
Charles grabs a shot glass. I don't know what My Little Pony is. And he drinks it.
Jester will pull out her phone and type something in.
Don't forget to write down my point. Anyways, whose turn is it? My turn?
If Eliza wants to partake in their festivities,
I suppose I could. I'm not sure. I have many secrets, but I'm not sure which secrets y'all would be interested in. She grabs 3 shot glasses. Holding up the first. She drinks it and puts it down. Holding up the second. She drinks it and puts it down. Holding up the third. She drinks it and puts it down. One after another after another. My original tribe. Was children of Gaia.
You know, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I think that was worth 3. But now y'all gotta catch up.
I'll go get more drinks.
I'm gonna go see a man about a horse, so I'll be right back. And Lucas will get up and look for Susan.
Okay. You see Susan is kind of holding court over by the pool table where she's serving out bowls of the stew. Looks like she's got a hunk of bread pulled off of a large loaf. Looks like a large fresh baked loaf that's just a massive football-sized loaf that she's pulling hunks off of, and she's handing with the stew in these big, large bowls out to the boys. As you approach, you can see she's got this large salt and pepper hair that's just wild and curly, falling down to her shoulders. She's got very thick makeup on, big red ruby lipstick, heavy eyeshadow, big golden jewelry hanging around her neck, and big hoop earrings. And as you approach, she's chewing bubblegum that's snapping in her mouth. Hey, new kid.
Ma'am?
Want some stew?
Not that I don't, but I'm good for the moment. I was wondering who I could have a business discussion with.
Business? Well, you'd want Ricky or Bruce.
It's big business. Who do you suggest?
Big business? Probably be wanting to talk to Bruce then.
Where can I
She
find him?
kind of points down to the end of the pool table. Over at the end of the pool table at a high cafe table where another group of bikers is circled around. You see two bikers locked up, arm wrestling, and another biker holding their hands, about to release them. And the one that she's gesturing to is the one who's holding their hands. It's a man who's probably about 6'3", built of solid, rock solid muscle. His head is thinning hair on top, but it's a solid black hair, cut very, very short in a very military cut. He has just a thin line of facial hair, very well kept, that goes down his chin. He's got a Marine Corps tattoo on his bicep. He's wearing, obviously, the president's vest and a tight white shirt underneath, very tight black jeans and black riding boots. And yeah, he seems to be preparing to let the boys go to town in this arm wrestling contest.
Head over that direction.
As you do, he releases and they start gripping. And as it goes, one starts to get control, the other starts to get control. And then a moment later, bam! The fists hit the table. You could hear glasses rattling, and then one bottle falls off and shatters on the ground, and a cheer lets out. Bruce says, "You know the rules." And the one who lost nods as he gets up, and he gets down on the ground, knuckles on the ground, and starts doing push-ups. But as he does so, his knuckles are on the shattered glass on the floor as he does so, doing the push-ups. And Bruce sets a foot on his back as he does the push-ups, one after another. As you approach, Bruce eventually looks over towards you and then kind of acknowledges your presence. Lucas, right?
Bruce?
What can I do for you?
You knew Ryder?
I did.
I kinda did too. It was interesting.
It's an understatement.
Do you think that what you guys are doing now, and I'm not trying to be insulting, is what Ryder would want?
Ryder was there was no one else like Ryder. He had a vision. But he was also, at times, he could be reckless. He always looked out for his boys. There's no doubt about that. That's why we were all loyal. But the way he was heading, the direction he was heading, was not sustainable. Do I think he'd be happy with where we're at? Probably not. No. But Ryder got a lot of us killed. It was never his intention. I'm not going to dishonor his memory and say that. But wherever Ryder went, trouble followed. We're still recovering from a lot of the things Ryder did. We're still trying to find our footing again.
Do you think you need help with that?
You looking to patch in?
We'll call this a negotiation. I have an inn, a big inn, on two different fronts, and I think that this group could be the glue that holds those two things together.
Ryder held your friends in high regard. Even up until the day he died. He held them high enough that he died to get Jester's friends out. He felt responsible for them, guilty for them. Don't know why he did, but he did. So I understand that there's something special about you all. Let's just say we had some conversations, him and I. He shared some things. But you gotta understand, we have protocol. And not everybody knows the things I know. Not everybody understands the things I understand. So, to make it fair, we can compromise. You still have to go through the process, but we can expedite it because of your special circumstances. How's that sound? You want them to respect you. They don't understand why they should. But you can show them in doing what they had to do. We'll just speed it up.
I think it's important to me and my friends, just like I think it's important to you, that there's a bridge between us and you.
I agree.
A common ground. And I didn't grow up normal. I guess the phrase is mama tried, but it didn't take. I'm more prone to the things you guys do than what they do. So, yeah, I think this isn't a terrible idea.
They'll get to know you. They'll get to consider you a brother. And they'll think of you as that way. But they're going to be wary of you. Sure, they let Aspen and Jester come through here. Because Ryder said they could come through here. And because they've been around. But you're still new. In their eyes. And I don't know who these others you brought with you are.
Yeah, fair.
But we can make this work. But you gotta understand, they're not gonna be kissing your ass just because you were with Aspen and Jester. This was a alliance, not a subservience. Ryder was in charge. Ryder's gone.
Well, I'll follow the protocol.
Good.
But somebody says the wrong thing. I may
Put
be
her in
shorter
their
than the rest of
place.
you, but I'm a lot faster.
I believe it. I saw some of the things he could do.
Or what, you want me to like start sweeping or something? Like, how does this work?
You're here with your friends. Take the night off. But come back tomorrow. That's when it starts.
Fair?
This'll work. It's gonna suck for a bit, as all things do, but if you're really serious about this, it will be quicker than you think.
I'm used to suck.
You gotta
Alright.
be to make it work in these places.
Yeah. Wouldn't be asking if I didn't understand it, so.
He'd
You,
like that.
yeah. Figured he would. You, enjoy this.
Yeah. With
Head
that,
back
he
over to the table.
pushes his foot down and you hear the guy beneath him thud to the floor. You're done. Jester,
Mm-hmm.
you were getting more drinks if I remember correctly, right?
I am. I am getting more drinks.
Okay.
I'm gonna down a couple of them as I head back.
Larry, from down the bar, looks to you kind of wide-eyed. Done already?
Oh, more people joined in.
Okay. And he kind of slides down and grabs some more glasses and fills up a tray with twice as many and takes the bottle and in a spiral pattern spirals the bottle around, filling up the shot glasses, that pushes the tray out. Okay. Hopefully this will hold you for a minute.
Yeah, I think so. Thanks.
Yeah.
Is the karaoke machine still up?
Nobody's willing to take it down. Not after what you did last time they tried to.
Okay. I'll head back to the table.
All right.
Welcome back.
I think you got to do a 3-shot worthy secret, I guess, is how we're doing this now.
3 shots.
Mama didn't raise no sucker.
Especially the ones who are from Georgia. That's fair. All right. I once betrayed someone that I once considered a brother that had no other choice. I'll take 3 shots.
Okay. I once she stops and she thinks for a moment, and in her head she says twice, was responsible for the death of somebody I very much cared about.
Aspen, as you go to drink, make me a stamina and resolve check.
3.
3 successes? Okay. Taking the shots, as you take the third one, that's when the burn hits. You ran out of the flat Coke shots because Jester had taken a few, and what she brought back was all liquor shots. Because Ricky in his, or I'm sorry, Larry in his haste to pour up shots just poured a round of liquor shots.
She'll put the last one down. And she's going to try really hard to just be normal.
You're okay, but it's hitting.
Okay.
Dreams, I also need you to make a stamina and resolve because you have been drinking this entire time.
Can I burn a will?
Sure.
Yeah, damn. 3.
Okay. You're doing well, but the vision's starting to get a little bit hazy. You're okay. You're still hanging in there.
Jester's turn, I think, for a 3-shot worthy secret.
So is this a secret nobody at this table knows?
Ideally, but to be fair, I'm not going to know any of them, so.
Okay. I'm afraid to fall in love again. I'll take the 3 shots. And I think I'm gonna go sing, so have fun.
Charles, I'm not going to make you do anything because I feel like you could break me in half, but if you'd like to continue to participate, I'd like to hear more.
Charles considers as he watches Jester leave. Picks up the 3 shots. I had my first kill at 9 years old. He downs the 3 shots.
I'm more scared of you now. Glad you're on our side.
Okay, question. Can I ask questions or do you just get to pick the secret?
No, shoot. What's up?
Okay, who is the guy you talked to here?
Oh. So, you know, I had been here for a little bit before actually meeting you guys. But there's a wanderer that I ran into down along the beach. Interesting guy. I can't. I try and help people out as much as I can when I come in contact with them, especially those who seemed worse for wear. But there's something about this guy I can't quite figure out, so I keep running into him, trying to figure him out. But his name's Moses. I can't figure this guy out, but he knows the city pretty well. So I've been trying to talk to him, getting additional information where I can. He's the one that told me about the soup kitchen.
Well, keep him safe around here.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in him. There's, yeah, yes. I'll try and keep him as safe as I can. One drink, one or two, or three.
I'll leave it up to you.
Do two. You'll do another two.
Charles at this point stands up from the table and goes to follow Jester over to the karaoke machine. Jester, what are you going to perform?
Tonight I am performing a song called Adrenalized by In This Moment.
Okay.
It is a metal song mostly about sex and rock and roll and drinking and living before you die.
Give me a charisma and performance. And
Okay.
yes, you can take the specialty in singing.
I'll spend a willpower. Five successes.
As you're performing, the crowd directs their attention to you. And the young man, whose name you'd forgotten, but his name is Will, pushes off the wall and starts making his way towards the corner that you're singing out of. But as he approaches and gets closer, kind of making his way towards, an arm shoots out in front of him. Long suited arm shoots out. And as he goes to look at the source of the arm, Charles stares at him, shakes his head, and gives a low guttural growl from deep in his throat. Will promptly turns and returns to the wall that he was leaned against and leans back against it again, his eyes dropping to the ground as you finish your song. Those at the table, Susan eventually comes over with large bowls of stew, setting them down. You're all hitting it pretty hard over here. You better get something to eat in those stomachs.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Susan. It's very nice here. You've done a great job.
In spite of these boys. So as you all drink and carouse and enjoy your evening, settling in with the bikers that have been your allies, now potentially your soon-to-be brothers, you think about the dangers that lie ahead. You think about the future. You think about the resources at your disposal. You're building a nation here, a new nation. But what are you putting at risk with these alliances, with these friends? You think about Moses. You think about Danielle. These people that are now in harm's way by sacrificing the queen. What have you put into motion? What have you let loose in the city of Tampa? Because while she was a threat, and there was no doubt about that, Bloody Mary was a sense of order amongst the leeches. And while Bateman may call himself Prince, he clearly has no concern for what's happening on the streets down below and for the impact it's having on the people of Tampa, at least not yet. And with a new pack coming into town, what new problems come in its wake? And with this new threat growing quite literally from the ground, how are you going to manage all of that? But that's not for tonight. Tonight is for merriment. Tonight is for revelry. Tonight is for morale. But you can't help those thoughts in the back of your minds. And that is where our story comes to a close, but not without one last scene. We find ourselves outside of a boarded up 2-story house in a rundown neighborhood. The backyard is completely surrounded by a chain link fence that has tarps and pitch fence sections held up around it. The place known as the Leech Hive. It stinks to high hell, whether it's from the bodies buried in the mass grave in the backyard or from that smell of sewage that seems to emanate from inside the home. But in this new lawless land of Tampa, nobody's calling the police. And even if they did, would they answer? Would they show up? Would they care? As we stay fixed outside on the house, we hear from within a young woman shout out, "No, please. No. What are you? I don't..." She screams, but that scream is cut out by a wet gurgle. And then silence. And that is where our story ends this evening. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you so much to everybody watching at home. If you are enjoying these stories, go follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media listed down below. And come join our community by following that Discord link. You could come be part of an amazing community of over 200 individuals who are talking about more than just the world of darkness. We are talking about everything under the sun, and we have tons of community activities for you to participate in. So just come join us. We are a nice group of people, and we'd love to have you amongst our numbers. We got book clubs, we got movie watch-alongs, we got comedy nights, we got all kinds of fun activities that you could be a part of. So why not come join us? And special new series starting this Friday. The second pack arrives in Tampa. The first episode of Hellhounds debuts this Friday. So come join us over on YouTube as the second pack debuts. So you're not going to want to miss that. That's Hellhounds on YouTube this Friday. So come check it out. And this Saturday, we've got After Dark with Vinvox. So come back here to Twitch this Saturday to come see our interview with Vinvox here on YouTube. So there's a lot of great content coming up. You're not going to want to miss it. For these amazing players, I'm Kent. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a lovely evening, everyone. See you soon.
With the path, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide.
This has been a St. Petersburg by Night production. Rage Across Tampa is produced in agreement with World of Darkness and Dark Pact. The storyteller for Rage Across Tampa is Kent. Tonight's characters were voiced by Preston, Champ, Noree, and Weiss. Visit our website at stpbynight.com for more information about all of our productions and how you can become part of our community. Thank you for listening. Until next time, fangs, stakes, and claws out.